What's up, everyone? Toasty here. Today I'm going to be doing something I've looked forward to doing for a very, very long time. I'm going to be making a top 10 Game of the Year video. So before I jump into the main top 10, I do have a few things I'd like to just point out. One is that I did not get a chance to play Cuphead, Mario Odyssey, or Nier Automata this year. So those not making my list is not a function of how good or not good they are. It's just that I simply did not have a chance to get to them. But I definitely look forward to playing them at some point in 2018. Second thing is I need to give out an award, I guess, before I jump into my main top 10. And it's my It Happened Again award, which I'll be giving to Destiny 2. So before Destiny 1 came out, I was super excited for it. I got caught in the wave of hype. I bought it day one or within like the first week or so. And then I basically got to max level, beat the main story, and then once your experience bar stops ticking or it just gets very slow and you're maxed out at level 20, I just lose interest. Like the gear and loot grind and getting up your light level just doesn't appeal to me. And basically this exact same thing recurred again and happened in Destiny 2. It's where I beat the main story, it was fine, leveled up to level 20. I got to a light level like maybe like 230 or something like that, where the max level is around 300 or 305. And I just lost interest and bounced off of it, so it makes me sad, but it happened again with Destiny 2. So having said that, I will jump into my top 10 for 2017 now. The first game is Horizon Zero Dawn. This game is just awesome. It's a great open world game. I recently got a big 55-inch 4K HDR TV, and Horizon just looks incredible on there. It runs super well. Dinosaurs and Aloy and everything look great. It's not higher on my list because I feel like the gameplay does get a little repetitive with either stealth killing all the enemies and sometimes hiding in a bush to bait them in there and then stabbing them, or of course looking up an enemy's weak point and then trying to shoot that weak point with your bow. The game also has a lot of shared DNA with Metal Gear Solid 5 and The Witcher 3 and other open world games, which I'm getting a little bit burned out on, but those games can still certainly do a lot for me, and I can put a lot of hours in if they're supremely well crafted. Next up, for number 9, we have Metroid Samus Returns. So, disclaimer, I have never played the original Return of Samus on, I believe, the original Game Boy, but I've played most every other Metroidvania game known to man. I'm a giant fan of most of them, especially games like the DS and 3DS Castlevania games. I do think my favorite Metroid is Metroid Zero Mission, for what it's worth. So this game is like so close to just being like the perfect Metroidvania, but it does have some key flaws. Um, One thing that drove me crazy is just for some reason it feels like you have a million missiles. Like early on in the game, you have 300 life, but I had like 115 missiles or something like that. And it's like a lot of enemies take maybe like 3 to 5 missiles. Like I don't understand why the balancing on that is just so weird. I just feel like the pace at which you get items is just kind of strange in that game. Although I'm assuming it's probably very similar to the original. So again, big caveat there. The bigger issue I have with this game is that it is brutally difficult. And like I'm a veteran of all the Souls games. I've beaten all the Souls games and Bloodborne, all that stuff. And I've been playing games since the original NES. So I'm certainly no stranger to very, very difficult games. And so difficulty is fine with me, and having to retry stuff is fine if you can eventually learn, a boss pattern and adapt and be able to overcome that challenge. The thing about Metroid, and I think it just all comes back to this, is that you can only steer Samus with the analog stick. Like the D-pad does not do that. It's used for other kind of like powers you get during the game. And so this causes a giant problem because there's times when you need to very quickly get in a morph ball and then out of morph ball, which is down down on the analog stick, and obviously like rapidly. And the issue with this is that on the analog stick, it's just not precise enough for the level, for like the speed at which the game demands you do this. And then the further problem that exacerbates this is that all the enemies in the game hit very, very hard. Like, for example, I mentioned having 300 health earlier. Your average enemy, just like, again, like not a boss, not a mini boss, but your average enemy will deal like 80 to 120 damage just from running into them. Like, the enemies just hit incredibly hard. Generally speaking, I feel like they drop a little bit less than in some other Metroid games too. Although maybe I'm wrong, and it feels like that because they just deal so much damage to you. But yeah, basically, like the game's just very hard, and it doesn't give you quite the level of precision I'd like to see. But having said that, it is really cool to see as you get further in the game, see Samus get stronger and stronger, and then go back to the earlier areas that at one point you struggled with, and now, of course, with all your new powers and abilities and more health, become very trivial to navigate through, and then you continue, the Metroidvania loop of getting more and more cool items and discovering new things. And the game also has a very, very cool last item that you get that I will not spoil here, but it is a very cool thing. It's also an interesting way of getting through some blocks that you see throughout the game that obviously you can't break until you get this particular item. So yeah, Metroid Samus Returns takes number 9 on my top 10 list of 2017. Continuing on, number 8 will be Fortnite Battle Royale. I've not actually played the single player content in Fortnite, so I'm solely talking about the multiplayer. So this game, I think for a lot of people, myself included, came definitely out of nowhere. And I really like how it's continued getting better and better. The player base is just astronomically, impossibly large. It just continues being a fun way of putting in a lot of hours, just grinding against other humans. It's very fun to have certain games where you just try and drop in the middle of the chaos and just battle as many people as you can and see how long you can survive. And it's also fun, of course, to try and stay in the shadows and try and get, a top 5, top 10 game. I think my best I've ever done is 6th, which was actually on stream, so that's very hype. So yeah, this game I think has a very bright future. It's definitely going to have a lot of competitors as more and more games include battle royale modes. So I'm really excited to see what the future of this game is, and we'll certainly be playing it into 2018. So for number 7, you can't talk about Fortnite without talking about PUBG, aka PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I think my ranking for this game is actually a lot lower than most people. As the game, I super love it. Obviously, it's my 6th favorite game of the year, but it does keep growing, and I'm kind of waiting to see the new content they come out with. They recently came out with a second map, and I've not really had too much of a chance to dig into it, but I look forward to doing that. I think I personally prefer PUBG over Fortnite by the slimmest of margins. I like that there's vehicles in PUBG. I like that the map's a little bit bigger, so that you less frequently get into a game, drop into a house, go loot the house, and find no guns. And then in Fortnite, some percentage of the time you will just die, because if you, in either of these games, in Fortnite or PUBG, encounter an enemy while you only have your starting melee weapon and they have a gun, you are never going to beat them unless they are just absolutely terrible. So like in PUBG, that will happen less frequently, and of course, just the game just has so many cool, funny moments in it. Even though a lot of the time you are just sitting around doing nothing and or looting buildings, just praying to find that backpack or gun that you really need. So continuing on, my number 6 game of the year was utterly out of left field, and it was Sonic Mania. I really, really like this game. I haven't liked any of the Sonic games that have been out in the past 10, 15 years. I don't think almost any of them are very good, but Sonic Mania just really hit the mark for me. Just the game, it feels perfect. It's got Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. It's got outstanding music. It's got a very good length. It's not too short. It's not too long. It's just it's got so many cool things. Like the side levels where you collect the balls are on at 60 frames a second now, which makes a world of difference and just feels great. Just everything about the game seems well thought out, very well executed. It's just awesome. I just really like it, and I don't really know how they could improve on it. And again, it was just completely out of left field. So yes, Sonic Mania is my 6th favorite game of 2017. Number 5 for me is also another big surprise, and it's Resident Evil 7. I've always been a big Resident Evil fan. I particularly love the PS1 classics, especially Nemesis, I think is actually my favorite Resident Evil, which is probably not too common, but I just love the Nemesis character and the feeling of being chased by such a crazy juggernaut. Resident Evil 7 is definitely very different from any other Resident Evil, but I just love it. The first person view does wonders for it. It's very, very scary, and it makes other games that previously terrified me, like Evil Within, just seem almost comical and cheesy. And Resident Evil 7 also has just outstanding writing. It has great characters, especially the Jack Baker. The humor with him is just hilarious. I really like just about everything about the game. It is definitely on my maximum limit of spookiness and scariness, but again, it's just awesome. And it's also cool how in the beginning of the game you're just insanely disempowered. You have nothing going for you. You're just super outgunned at every front. But then as the game continues, you get more and more items, you get, the shotgun and stuff like that, and you just start feeling like you can actually fight enemies and take them on. The Resident Evil 7 definitely over-delivered for me. It's a superb game. I've been playing some of the DLC lately, which is just hilarious. There's like a Blackjack 21 game. There is a escape room level. There's like a Call of Duty Zombies mode. Like, there's all kinds of weird, cool stuff in the game, and I just really dig it. So that's Resident Evil 7's number 5. Continuing on, then we have, this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but giving Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite my number 4 game of the year. The game definitely has flaws. It's seen all kinds of backlash with not having the X-Men and all kinds of stuff like that. But I'm a huge Marvel vs. Capcom fan. I played Ultimate Marvel 3 for the 7 years of its life. I played literally thousands of games online on that game, and the game has trash netcode. And Marvel Infinite fixes a lot of the problems that Marvel 3 had. It takes out X Factor and the TACs and stuff like that, like all these mechanics I did not really enjoy. It takes out like touch of death combos, although it seems like we might still kind of get back there. You can deal about 70% into a nasty setup at this point. But yeah, it just fixes all these things I don't like. The netcode is pretty great. I'd probably say it's about like an 8 out of 10. Like there are some laggy matches, but overall it works pretty well, and you can actually do like your real combos instead of doing simplified combos. So yes, I can finally play a Marvel game after playing Marvel 2 online. Now Infinite's good. The balance seems pretty good so far. Dante, it's funny, Dante got super nerfed and he's still just the best character. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with the characters. The story mode's wacky and stupid and kind of everything I'd want from it. It's really fun just learning combos and going in training mode, messing with the different stones. So for that reason, Marvel Infinite, my number 4 game of the year. Number 3 is going to be probably a more common game, and it's Persona 5. This game just took over like a month and a half of my life. I wasn't super excited before it came out, although I did love Persona 4 Golden and did play that to completion over like 100 hours. And Persona 5 is a similar deal. But yeah, Persona 5 just looks great. It has the best style maybe of any video game I've ever seen. The menus are just next level. The core gameplay is fun with just targeting your enemy's weaknesses and then getting free attacks. The story is very interesting. The characters are very cool. Just basically everything about the game is super well executed. It's obviously a very meaty game. I know there's like new game plus stuff and extra bosses and just all kinds of stuff to do in the game. So yeah, so it's a very meaty package. It's very well executed. The music's great. The design of the characters is great. The menus and everything are great. Like it's just awesome. The game is just super awesome. I guess its only weakness is that's kind of a traditional JRPG, but okay, great. So yes, Persona 5 is my 3rd favorite / best game of the year. Number 2 is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and my number 1 and 2 are definitely a toss-up for me. Like these two next games are just, they're both so next level and so incredibly well executed. But Breath of the Wild with Zelda it's just such a masterpiece. Like everything about it's so well put together. The graphics are incredible. The open world is just so interesting. There's just a ludicrous amount of stuff to do. It's cool that it tells like kind of the traditional Zelda story, but with some cool twists, introduces some cool characters. I love Sidon. He is my favorite. Go Water Prince. He is the bomb. But yeah, it's just I don't mind, like some people complain about the weapon durability, particularly early in the game. Like I didn't mind it at all. It forces you to mess with new things, and it's just not. It's very easy to manage the inventory in that game. It takes literally seconds. So yeah, Zelda was just so awesome for me. I love the last boss. I found him very challenging. Some say he's easy. I don't know. Your mileage may vary. It's got a lot of cool Easter eggs that I will not spoil here. Like Zelda's just the complete package. It's awesome. It's great on Wii U. It's great on the Switch. It's just fantastic. I love it. But it was not good enough to beat my number 1 game of the year, which I think is also an uncommon thing. But for me, this game was just, it hit at the perfect time. It does everything right to me, and it is Injustice 2. So weirdly, I didn't even actually pre-order this game when you got all kinds of cool DLC if you pre-ordered it. I was not looking forward to it at all initially. And then I remember turning on Next Level Battle Circuit, which is a weekly tournament in New York, and watching the stream. I was just like, I need to check this game out. Just all the characters are cool, and the balance overall is very good, and I really agree with how NetherRealm, the maker of the game, balances the game. Like they do a really good job at basically nerfing the best characters and then bringing up the bottom characters and very minorly tweaking the characters in the middle. So I just really agree with their balancing philosophy. The characters are all very distinct and unique, but they're not impossibly difficult to pick up like a Guilty Gear or BlazBlue. So I really like that. The netcode and online play is just phenomenal. They have all kinds of modes. They have like their gear systems that you can choose to interact with or not. So it's really cool for me. Like I don't ever mess with the gear really aside from it being cosmetic. Like I don't care about their special powers and stuff. But all that's there if you want to interact with it. But again, if you don't, there's also the competitive mode where all that stuff's turned off and everything is balanced and meant to be a level playing field. So I just love all that. I love learning combos in the game. I love the core engine. I love the visual style. I love like how powerful the environmental stuff is to where it's definitely not at earlier Mortal Kombat levels, but it still matters a bit, and you can still do cool background bounce combos and stuff like that. The training mode is very robust and well featured. Just everything about the game is just basically perfect, and it's something I totally didn't expect. It came out of left field, and just everything they just executed, they did it. Earlier on with Street Fighter V, like Street Fighter V didn't have the good story modes and arcade modes and whatnot, and like Injustice just blows them out of the water. It's got everything. It's got a lengthy single player campaign. And it's got like arcade modes. It's got like mission and challenge modes. It just has so much stuff to do. It's got like the loot boxes of if you just want to collect all the gear. It's got so much cool stuff to do. The netcode's great. The core gameplay is great. Their balancing and their philosophy on like design of characters and stuff is just great. Like everything about it is just awesome. So yeah, Injustice 2 is just my favorite game of the year. I think it's the best fighting game in forever. And I've always been a Capcom and Marvel particularly loyalist, but Injustice 2 is just too good to be ignored. So yes, for that reason, Injustice 2 is my number one game of the year. It's my favorite thing. I think it's the best. It's like something like 20 bucks now. It's not too expensive, so definitely pick it up or wait for, I'm sure, the inevitable Super DLC edition. Yeah, Injustice 2 is number one. Zelda Breath of the Wild takes number two. Persona 5, number three. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, number four. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard takes number five. Sonic Mania spin dashes into number six. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, number seven. Fortnite Battle Royale, the multiplayer mode in my particular case, is number 8. Metroid Samus Returns is number 9. And Horizon Zero Dawn is number 10. Thank you for watching. Peace.